Hello and welcome. Thank you for joining me. My name is Lauren, and I am about to guide you through a gentle yoga practice where we focus on forward folds. So, when we move through forward folds, the intention part of the one of the many intentions, the physical intention, let's say that. One of the physical intentions is to open and lengthen the back of the body. And depending on the way you position, mostly your knees and your hips, and I guess your spine, most of your body. The focus can be either on the legs or the spine. And so one's not right, one's not wrong. You just kind of move around and explore the poses and find what feels good. Sometimes it feels really good to stretch and open the backs of the legs, and sometimes it feels better to open the back of the spine. So you take what feels good in your body in this moment, like always, right? All right. So I've always got two blocks and a blanket. You take what you need. We're going to start on our backs. So you can make your way down onto your back. Come down onto your back. Now you can have your legs long. You might have your knees bent and your feet flat. And let's start with the hands on the belly. I always like the hands on the low belly, just right around, maybe even below the belly button. And just feel your breath. Notice the sensation of each breath. Notice how effortless your breath is. Notice how smooth your breath is. Now you can always continue with an easy, organic breath. Or maybe you start to activate and engage on the exhalation. So think about putting a little bit of effort, a little bit of force on the exhalation. And then allow the inhalation to be passive. Just letting the lungs refill with air naturally and without effort. So put effort on the exhalation, whether you're breathing out through your nose or your mouth. But think about pushing the breath out. And when you think you can't breathe out anymore, keep breathing out a little more. Find the true bottom of your exhalation. Breathe out all the way. Think about your lungs like an elevator. And we need to release what's already there. That's the first step. And so release, exhale, get rid of the breath that's inside already. And then allow the inhalation to be relaxed. Effort on the exhale, softness on the inhale. A few more like that. Focus on the breath. Soften shoulders and arms. Three more breaths like this. And then slowly return back to your natural breath. And just notice how you feel. Remembering there are no right or wrong answers, notice how you feel. Oh, keeping your attention inward. If it feels right for you in this moment, you're welcome to set an intention for your practice. Think about a positive word or phrase, silently and slowly repeat it. Allow it to settle in your heart. All right, start to slowly deepen your breath. Take bigger breaths. Put effort on both the inhalation and exhalation. And then add movements, maybe rock the head. Wiggle fingers and toes. Move arms and legs. Maybe flutter the eyes open. And take a few moments taking whatever movement calls to you, feels right, works in your body. Maybe take a full body stretch or hug the knees in. 2 more breaths. Okay, we're going to meet on our backs with the knees bent, feet flat, feet and knees about hip distance apart, arms alongside the body. All right, let's do some pelvic tilts. So keep your seat on the ground, keep your shoulders on the ground, but inhale, lift your ribs, arching your spine like you're pointing your belly button towards your thighs. And exhale, drop the ribs down to the floor like you're pointing your belly button towards your face. Inhale, lift the ribs, point the belly button forward towards the thighs, arching the spine. Exhale, flatten the spine, engaging the core. Tuck the tailbone, belly button to the face. A couple more like this, more than a couple. We're going to be here for a little bit. Just keep moving with your breath. So the effort here is moving your pelvis, which lifts and lowers the ribs, which does maybe kind of pull the shoulders and the head maybe slightly forward and back. That's all right. But that's sort of all coincidental. The effort is in the pelvis, lifting and lowering, tipping the pelvis forward and back. And this is where a big part of that difference really is made, whether you're focusing on the legs or the spine in a forward fold, really mostly starts at the pelvis. And then from there, the knees and the spine will make a difference as well. But the pelvis is really the first thing we look at. It's the most central. So throughout all of these forward folds, I might remember to cue you through it. Each of them, I might forget for some of them, but maybe you've got the awareness and the mindfulness to kind of play with, again, this pelvic tilt in different positions and notice just how it feels, how it changes things. Not for better or worse, but maybe something that feels more intense, less intense, whatever it is. And you find what you like, and you're not afraid to explore because you know your body, you're thoughtful with your movements, you're focused, you've got your awareness inward, it's present. Trust yourself. Now let's do just a couple more. Keep the shoulders relaxed. Relax the feet. Don't push the feet into the ground. Focus on the pelvis. One more of each. All right, and then return the pelvis to neutral, spine to neutral. Now let's bring the attention down into the legs. So inhale. Exhale, hug the right thigh in towards your belly. Hold on to the back of your right thigh, drawing the thigh in, like you're reaching your right knee towards your right armpit. And now keep the thigh in. Soften the shoulders away from the ears. We're just going to open and close the knee. So inhale, reach the foot up for the sky, opening the back of the knee. The leg won't be a straight line. Exhale, bend the knee. Let the heel come down towards the back of the thigh. Inhale, lengthen the leg. Exhale, bend. So again, just think about opening and closing the knee. Now, the knee's not going to open all the way. The leg's not going to become a straight line. That's okay. We're just really carefully opening the hamstrings. And so it might not be that deep. It might not be that intense, or maybe it is. Maybe it is deep. Maybe it is intense. Take some deep breaths. Soften where you can. Just a couple more here. One more like this. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, bend the knee. Let the right foot come all the way back down into the ground. Take a breath. Okay, inhale. Exhale, hug the left thigh in towards the belly. Hold on to the back of the thigh as opposed to the top of the shin. Hug the thigh in like the knee is reaching for the armpit. Relax the shoulders towards the floor and towards the hips. Soften arms and hands. Keep the thigh as it is. Inhale, reach the foot for the sky. Exhale, bend the knee. Heel comes to the back of the thigh. Inhale, lengthen the leg. Exhale, bend. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, bend. So we're just moving the knee. Thigh stay still. Hands, arms, shoulders relaxed. Back of the head sinking into the mat. Don't worry if the leg isn't straight. It's not the point. It probably won't be. Just say hello to your hamstrings. Couple more here. One more. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, bend the knee and release the hands from the thigh. Let the foot come down. Both feet flat on the mat and just breathe. Inhale. Exhale, hug the knees into the chest. You can wrap your arms around the backs of the thighs or the tops of the shins. Take what feels good. You might rock side to side. Maybe you stay still. And notice here, as you're hugging your knees into your chest, the tighter you hug your knees in towards your chest, the more it's almost like your lower back comes up off the ground. It's more of a pointing your belly button towards your face kind of thing. So it's a little bit more of a forward fold. And we'll come to this at the end, but happy baby is a pose where people often ask, should my lower back be lifting? Should my tail be sort of lifting? I wouldn't say there is a should or a should not there, but that just sort of is more of a forward fold and less of sort of a natural length in the spine, which is okay, right? Again, maybe it feels good to really fold forward. Maybe it feels good to keep the lower back long and on the mat. One more breath, just doing something because it feels good. And then make your way up to a comfortable seat. Make your way there, no rush, no hurry. All right. Take a comfortable seat of your choice. We are going to move through the spinal movements the way I really like to do them. So, you've probably done these before. Just allow the spine to lengthen up through the crown of the head, relax the shoulders. So lengthening the spine is really the first movement here. We broaden, lengthen, expand up. Think about your spine telescoping up towards the sky. But again, shoulders stay relaxed. Focus on a seated cat and cow here first. So inhale, draw the ribs forward, belly forward, lift the chest, lift the heart, maybe look up. Exhale, tuck the tailbone, draw the ribs back, chin to the chest, look down. Inhale, belly forward, point your belly button towards your thighs, lift your chest to the sky, look up. Exhale, tuck your tailbone, draw your belly button so it points towards your face, chin to your chest, look down. A few more like this. Moving with the breath and softening where you can. Notice what you're feeling and notice without judgment. Let's do one more of each. And then return to the center. Lengthen up again. Create that length, that telescope action that softens shoulders. Remember, there's a difference between pushing and relaxing. Okay, keep that relaxation through the shoulders. Inhale, circle the arms up so fingertips reach up towards the sky. Exhale, bring the right hand down, the left fingertips reach up and over, reaching. Side sweeping. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, switch sides. Left hand come down, right fingertips reach up and over. Inhale, lengthen, expand up. Exhale, take that side stretch, the set of side sweeping action. So I want you to think about your spine almost looking like the letter C, rounding over towards one side. Now the temptation is to let one arm come forward. So let it stay sort of by the ear instead of in front of the face. And shoulders relax. The seat heavy. One more on each side. And then return to the center. Inhale, lengthen up. Exhale, drop the arms, rotating over to the right, lengthening into a twist. Inhale, sit up tall. Exhale, drop the arms, keep the length, but add on by twisting. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, twist. So think about, again, instead of swapping out a twist and the length in the spine, we're adding on. It's sort of cumulative. So we keep the length, we maintain it, and then we twist. So there's two things happening at the same time. And that will make for a more effective twist. Let's do it one more time on each side. Inhale, lengthen up one more time. Exhale, let the arms come down. All right, we're going to stay seated for one more movement. Just change the cross of your legs. Put the other leg in front or on top. And we'll do just one more movement of the spine. So those are all sort of the official movements of the spine. And I like to sort of do them in this clear cut, distinct way. But sometimes it feels good to just move in a way just because it feels good, not because there's like an anatomical specific reason that it's flexion at the shoulder joint or whatever. So this is one of those movements that I like to think of in that category. So think about, again, lengthening the spine, softening the shoulders. Now, I want you to think about this from your ribs, sort of like the pelvic tilt. It's really your pelvis, but think about your ribs. Draw the ribs forward like you just did just a moment ago, and now send them over to the right, and now send them back, and now to the left, and then forward. So I think of it like you're sort of spiraling your ribs around. They're coming forward and to one side, back, and to the other side. And you might sort of have to think of it. If you think of things as sort of distinct movements, I often do. And so you might think forward, and then you might return to the center and side and back and return, and then eventually make it more fluid. Or maybe it's easy for you to make it fluid or whatever. This is just about moving just in a way because it feels good and it's different. And maybe you don't normally do this. Maybe you roll the shoulders as you do it. Maybe you move a little through the head and the neck. But I want your spine to just really move here, right? Just create movements. Let's take about 3 more in the same direction that you're moving right now. Oh, that was I don't know if you could hear that. I don't know if the microphone picked that up, but my hip just cracked. But that felt okay. That felt good. All right. And then when you're ready, return to the center. We got to reverse. So go forward, to the left, back behind you, to the right, and in front of you. So again, you might sort of make it 4 distinct movements. Maybe you sort of make it like this spiral. Maybe your hips sort of sway and move. Maybe there's a pelvic tilt, kind of forward and back. That would be great. Maybe the shoulders kind of move a little bit. Try to keep the shoulders as relaxed as you can, but you can still move them, right? There can still be a little bit of movement and activation. It's not all or nothing. Maybe the head and the neck, but just a couple more here. Move your spine in a way just because it feels good, not again because of a scientific, anatomical, specific, particular reason. 2 or 3 more breaths here. All right, and then return to the center. Lengthening up one more time. Lift the shoulders up by the ears, roll them down and back, broaden the collarbones. Take a deep breath. All right, let's come to tabletop. So we are going to be coming to tabletop, but we're not going to be here long. So bring your blocks to the top 2 corners of your mat. And honestly, I should actually give you another option. We're going to make our way into forward fold, and you have got 2 really good ways to do that. I suppose there are probably an infinite amount of ways you could get up to forward fold, but an option I always like in gentle is just coming to the blocks, bringing the hands on the block, step 1 foot forward. You get to choose the one you like. Hook the back toes under, lift that knee, you're in a runner's lunge, and then you can step forward. But if you want to come to if you want to come to downward facing dog, you've always got that as an option. And I'll give you that same option as we come down to the ground. That's always available to you. Whether it's me teaching or somebody else, you've always got sort of some transitions, as long as you know where we're going. I guess that's sort of the key. But let's meet in forward fold. Make your way into forward fold. And then again, move in ways just because it feels good. Not for a rhyme or reason. Just because you wanna. Just because you like it. And that can mean a variety of things. It can be movement down at the toes. It can be up to the fingers, the crown of the head, movement all the way in between. Again, but taking something because you like it, because you wanna. 2 more breaths. All right, and then come to a traditional forward fold. Weight in the heels, soft bend in the knees. Inhale, lift up halfway, lengthen the spine, crown of the head forward. Exhale, fold forward, Uttanasana. Push the heels into the ground. Inhale, rise all the way up. Circle the arms, lift the chest. Let's do that a few more times. Exhale, fold forward, Uttanasana, round through the upper body. Inhale, lift up halfway, lengthen the spine, crown of the head forward. Exhale, fold forward, Uttanasana. Inhale, rise all the way up. Circle the arms, lift the chest, Urdhva Hastasana. 2 more like that. Exhale, fold forward, Uttanasana. Inhale, lift up halfway, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, fold forward, Uttanasana. Inhale, rise all the way up. Push the heels down, rising up. Urdhva Hastasana. Last one like that. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, rise all the way up, circle the arms, lift the chest, maybe at a back bend. Exhale, bring the hands through to the heart, fold forward, Uttanasana. Now this time, inhale, lift up halfway, lengthen the spine. Exhale, bend the knees, bring the hands down, and maybe bring the hands down onto the blocks and step the right foot back. Step the right foot back. And now we're going to be dropping the right knee down to the ground. You might bring some cushion under your knee, pull the mat over, whatever you got to do. All right, but we're going to get deeper into the back of the legs, into the hamstrings. So again, forward folding can open the backs of the legs, the backs of the spine. We've been warming up the spine, now let's come back to the hamstrings. So I like the blocks at the higher height. Okay, and think about pushing down into the ground. I like to push the tops of the back foot, the toenails down, top of the foot, the shin, the knee, the left heel down, lift the hips up. Don't let them just sort of sag. Lift and allow the hips to come forward. We're going to move with the breath. Inhale into a low lunge. Exhale, shift back into the half splits, maybe crawling the left foot forward, lengthening the left leg. Inhale, shift forward into the low lunge, planting the left foot. Feel it in the front of the right hip. Exhale, shift back, lengthen the left leg, maybe crawl the left foot forward, half splits. Inhale, shift forward, low lunge. Exhale, shift back, half splits. Couple more here, feeling it in the right hip flexor and the left hamstrings, back of the left thigh. And to get deeper into the back of the left thigh, as you lengthen the left leg, point your left toes up towards the sky, maybe even back towards you. Do 2 more of each, just like this. All right. Now, the next time you come into the half splits, we're going to hold it there for a few moments. So allow the hips to come back. Now, they might not come back as far as they were a moment ago. We're going to set this up a little differently. So I like to walk the hands back a bit. We always want to make sure hands are under the shoulders. So they might have to come back because we want the right hip over the right knee. We want the right thigh, a straight vertical line. And then place hands under shoulders to lift the chest, lengthen the spine. And then crawl that left foot forward, kind of wiggle, slide, push the left heel forward, push through the heel, reach the left toes to the sky. All right. Now notice here, if you are allowing the hips to kind of open to the right, almost like you would for warrior two, do you feel your right foot sort of sliding to the left and like your belly button points to the right? Square the hips forward. Right toes will point directly back. Draw the right hip forward, the left hip back. Square the hips towards the top of your mat. Right hip forward, left hip back, left heel forward, left toes to the sky. You can stay tall and long. Notice this is a forward fold at the hip. You're feeling it mostly in the thigh. You could start to fold forward in the spine. You can add on to it. So maybe you lower the heights of the blocks. Maybe you get rid of the blocks. Maybe you bend the elbows. You do what you need to feel length through the back side of the body, back of the left leg, through the back of the spine. Continue to draw right hip forward, left hip back, left heel forward, left toes to the sky. 3 deep breaths here. All right, and then slowly make your way back up. Come on up onto the blocks. Again, might as well just bring them all the way to the highest height of the blocks. And then we'll let that left leg come back. Come into this tabletop for a few moments. Maybe let the hips sway or lengthen the legs back. Roll the wrists. Do what you got to do. We obviously have got to do the second side, but we're in no rush. Take about 2 or 3 breaths here. It might feel good to stretch the wrists, bringing the backs of the hands together. Instead of, we always kind of have the palms together, right, in yoga, the backs of the hands together feels good. Okay, so second side, maybe you have to slide your support over, but set yourself up with the right foot forward in between the blocks, hands under the shoulders, and you're going to push down anything that's touching the ground or support. You're pushing down to lift up, lengthening the spine up and away. And then maybe let the hips come forward a bit. Gently open that left hip flexor. You're pushing especially into the right heel. You can wiggle right toes. Okay. Now inhale. Exhale, let the hips slide back. Let the hips slide back, and maybe the right foot has to crawl forward a bit. Reach right toes to the sky. Move with your breath. Inhale, shift forward, low lunge. Exhale, shift back, half splits. So sometimes I have to kind of slide that front foot a little bit. Sometimes I don't. It just sort of depends on, I think, the day, the setup, my muscles that day, my joints that day. Really, all of it is so sort of unique to every situation. So just focus on how it feels. What's going on in your body? Where do you feel opening? Where do you feel length? Let's do about 3 more here with the breath. All right, now the next time you shift back into the half splits, we're going to hold it. So you're going to allow the hips to slide back towards the back of your mat, but allow the left hip and the left knee to be stacked. So don't let them go too far back. We don't want the hip over the heel. It's not like a child pose in the left leg. The left leg is like a tabletop, hip over the knee. All right, so that probably means slide the right foot forward. Push the heel forward, right toes to the sky. Now you might have to crawl the hands. Again, we always want hands under shoulders. Now you're pushing right heel forward and the right hip back. Left hip forward. Notice if your hips sort of want to turn out like a warrior two to the left. This isn't warrior two, right? This is about the front and the back of the body. So hips got to be square. Left hip forward, right hip back. Right heel forward, right toes towards the sky. And maybe you keep pushing the hands down and you lift up and out of your armpits and you lengthen your spine and you focus on the back of the leg. Maybe you round forward, lowering the chest, maybe lower the blocks, maybe get rid of the blocks. But take a version of the half splits, Ardha Hanumanasana, that feels good in your body. But again, no matter where you're at, I'll remind you one more time, left hip forward, right hip back, left heel forward, right toes to the sky. Soften shoulders, relax muscles of the face. 3 deep breaths here. All right, and then bring your hands back onto the blocks. The higher the height, the easier the transition. And then we'll just transition back to tabletop. Again, give yourself a couple moments. Take what feels good. Maybe that's the wrists. Maybe that's the hips. 2 breaths. Okay. Now, if you've got support under your knees, I would push it off to the side, and we're going to make our way into forward fold again. So one more time, you can take the blocks, Step 1 foot forward, doesn't matter which foot to me. Hook the back toes under, lift the knee, step forward, or take down dog, and then walk your feet forward. But let's hang out and forward fold a couple of breaths. So no rush. Notice how it feels to be here. Maybe bend the knees, straighten the knees. Notice forward fold now. 2 deep breaths. All right, weight in the heels, soft bend in the knees. Inhale, lift up halfway, lengthen the spine. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, rise all the way up. Circle the arms out and around. Fingertips reach to the sky. Maybe at a back bend. Bring the hands through to the heart. Take a deep breath here. Mountain pose. Okay, so now we're going to take a wide leg forward fold. And so I'm going to turn to face you and I will mirror you, but you are going to need sort of you're going to need your mat sort of by your sides instead of your front and your back. So turn however you need to do that. Okay, and then bring, you might not need anything, but I always like to bring a block in front. You never know. Okay, so you are facing the long edge of your mat, taking a wide stance, something like you would in a warrior two, but toes are forward, all 10 toes forward. Hook them in a little bit more. All right, now let's take this position 2 different ways. So first I want you to think about rolling down and keeping your belly button pointing up towards your face. So think about that pelvic tilt, right? So sort of scooping the low belly, tucking the tailbone. So keeping the tailbone tucked, start to roll down, chin to the chest, looking down at your belly button. So think cat pose, round the spine, round the back, belly button towards the face, and then let the hands come down. Now, maybe your hands come to blocks, maybe they don't. Maybe you let your arms hang. Maybe they come to the mat. But take again this sort of cat pose variation, noticing what it feels like to be here. Push the heels down, the outside edges of the feet down, pinky toe sides of the feet down into the ground. Tuck the tailbone, belly button to the face, chin to the chest. Take a breath. Now allow the spine to come to neutral a little bit more, to more of a tabletop long spine. Push the feet into the ground and inhale, rise all the way up. We're going to bring the hands back to the hips, lengthening the torso back up right. Okay, so that was one way to be in that pose. Normally you wouldn't come into the pose that way, but I really wanted you to feel that. Okay, so no right or wrong answers, just noticing how that felt compared to what we're about to do, which is the opposite. And what we're about to do is how we come into forward fold traditionally. Pelvis first, not chin to the chest, not belly button to the face. It's going to be belly button forward towards the thighs. So inhale, lengthen up through the crown of the head. Exhale, point your belly button at your thighs, and then your spine comes like a wave. Belly button towards the thighs. Let the ribs come down, the chest, the heart. The hands can come down onto something. Maybe they just hang. Again, you're taking what you like. You're taking where you need to be. And notice how this feels different, how it feels. Maybe the spot that you felt the stretch in the first round is a little different from this round. Maybe the distance between you and the ground is the same or is less or more. Maybe the intensity of what you're feeling is more or less. And just notice. Even as you're here, can you point your belly button towards your thighs a little bit more? Maybe that requires a soft bend in the knees. That's when the knees then have to come into play. But notice how it feels. Now we're going to stay here for several more breaths. You've got options of what you want to do. If you want to come back to that sort of cat pose variation, you're welcome to do that. One thing you might do is walk your hands over to one foot. Now you can do that while keeping your legs straight and long, or maybe you bend into the knee that you're leaning over towards. And then, of course, you'll have to do both sides. And same thing here, whether you keep the legs straight or bend the knee, it's going to change the stretch. It's a different stretch. One's not right, one's not wrong, one's not better. One might feel deeper, one might feel better. But it's just because it's what your body needs. So let's take about 3 more breaths here. In any sort of wide leg, forward fold position that you need. All right. And then bring the hands preferably onto a block, under the shoulders, lengthening the spine. Think about that half lift. Crown of the head forward, tailbone back. Push the heels into the ground. Really think about gripping the mat with your feet. Lengthen the crown of the head forward. Bring the hands to the hips and inhale, lengthen all the way up. Crown of the head up towards the sky, lengthening the spine back up. Okay, and then you can heel toe your feet back together. You can do one at a time. You don't have to do them both or both of them. And then sometimes that was kind of a lot in the ankles, which is another thing to just notice, right? Sometimes we think about, oh, my hips and my shoulders. When I ask for student suggestions and requests of the day, it's usually neck, shoulders, lower back, and hips. People always forget about their wrists and their ankles and their fingers and their toes. Don't forget about those body parts. Okay, says the person who is focusing on the spine today. But we're going to make our way down to the mat in just a moment. So you've got your options, right? We're going to start in tabletop. I'm sorry, in Tadasana. Picturing the letter T. In Tadasana, feet hip distance, weight in the heels, ground through the feet, reach up through the crown of the head, lengthen the spine, roll the shoulders up and down and back. Take a breath. Inhale, circle the arms out and around, fingertips reach to the sky. Exhale, fold forward, Uttanasana. Inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale, bend the knees, bring the hands down, and you've got options. You can step back to a lunge, or you can step to tabletop. I'm sorry, to downward facing dog. Oh, I'm all over the place now. But eventually, we're going to come to a seat. Give yourself maybe 5 more breaths to make your way into a seated position. All right. So we're going to take a seat. I am going to sit on a thinly folded blanket because my hamstring injuries they just prefer it. My seat just prefers it. But you don't have to sit on anything. If you want to sit on something for cushion because it hurts to sit like on the hardwood floor that you're at or whatever, then you can sit on something, but I wouldn't sit on a block or anything. Okay. I'm going to do this sort of this way. All right. So we're going to take some seated forward folds. Let's start with both legs long. Reaching the legs long out in front of you. I will just come sideways. All right. Legs out in front of you. Push through the heels, toes pointing up towards the sky. Bring the hands down beside you. Now, I can't necessarily comfortably, thankfully, I can because the blanket's here. But if the blanket wasn't here, I wouldn't be able to push my palms down into the ground. So it might just sort of be your fingertips. It really is just your, the length of your torso and the length of your arms, which everybody's is a little different. So, but push down with whatever can touch the ground. Push down into the ground with the hands, the fingertips, palms, whatever. Reaching the crown of the head up, roll the shoulders back, push the heels forward, take a breath. Dandasana. Okay. Now, let's keep the left leg long. Bend the right knee, bringing the bottom of the foot towards the inside of the thigh. Now, it doesn't have to come all the way up. You don't have to necessarily yank it up, but just allow it to come somewhere to the inner leg line. It might come to the inner calf, whatever. All right, but we're going to keep pushing through the left heel, toes to the sky. You might have a strap here. You also could take a block. You could take whatever you need, but take what you got to take. All right, now we're going to start. Now I want you to think about this all coming from the pelvis, just like that standing wide leg forward fold. We're going to do it like that second way we did it. So instead of rounding forward and taking a cat pose, I want you to think the opposite. So push the hands down, reach the crown of the head up, inhale. Exhale, point your belly button down at your thighs, belly button down at the thighs, ribs come down, and your chest comes down, and your heart. And then maybe you walk your hands forward. Maybe you hold on to some part of your leg. Just make sure you're not squeezing. All right. And maybe you keep lengthening up through the crown of the head and you sort of look at your toes, or maybe you drop your chin to your chest and you look down at your knee or your belly. But notice here where you're feeling the stretch. Notice what you're feeling. Creating body awareness. Noticing each and every sensation. We'll stay for 3 more breaths. All right, and then bring your hands down onto the ground, palms pushing into the ground. Inhale, rise up. We're going to keep the legs as they are. Just lift the chest, lift the torso. All right, now we're going to keep the legs like this. Instead of folding forward, we're going to take a bit of a twist. So there's multiple ways you can twist. In this particular instance, we can take an open twist or a closed twist. We're going to do both. So you're going to inhale, reach the crown of your head up towards the sky. Exhale as you start to turn over towards the right, over to the right, towards the open leg. Now, you might just stay here. Maybe your hands come down. Maybe the left hand can come to the left leg. Maybe it comes to the right leg. I like to kind of bring my left hand to my left leg and use that as leverage, kind of the hand into the foot into the hand. Or maybe the left hand comes to the right thigh. But twisting over to the right. Now, maybe even from here, you just maintain length and rotation. That's already 2 movements of the spine at the same time, right? Length, rotation, both happening. But now you could add a forward fold here. So allowing the left shoulder to come down towards sort of the left leg. So again, I like to kind of crawl the left hand forward towards that left foot. The right arm might go up overhead. You might take sort of a half bind. But maybe again, you stay up tall, maybe you add a little bit of a forward fold. But now we're getting into more movements of the spine, deeper movements of the spine. Notice what you're feeling. 2 more breaths. And then inhale, slowly return, rise the spine, lift the torso. We're going to keep the legs as they are. Now we're taking the closed twist. We're going to twist to the left. So an open twist is a little less intense than a closed twist. So that's really the difference. If you're asking yourself why, not as intense to take the open, more intense take the closed. So I again like the hand kind of coming to the foot, but it might just come to the leg wherever it needs to be. But bring the left hand down just to the left side of your hip. Inhale, reach the crown of the head up towards the sky. Exhale as you start to turn over to the left. The left hand might kind of come behind you. The right hand might come to the thigh, and you use that as leverage. It might make its way down the leg. And again, you can sit up tall, lengthen, reach, crown of the head up, shoulders relaxed, lengthen, rotate. You could stay here. Push through the left heel, left toe still reaching to the sky. Or maybe you add a little bit of a forward fold. And this one's a little easier, I think. Kind of crawling the foot down, the hand down towards the foot, adding forward flexion in addition to rotation. So more movements of the spine, it's a little deeper. You be where you need to be. Soften where you can. Soften muscles of the face. Relax throat, neck, and jaw. Continue to twist to the left. Let the right leg relax. Right hip relax. 2 more breaths. And then inhale, rise up, returning back to the center, lengthening all the way back up. And then lengthen the right leg. Take a couple moments. Adjust, wiggle around. All right, and we are doing the second side. So, I'm sorry, right leg, I'm not mirroring you. Right leg will stay long, left knee will bend. Bottom of the foot, somewhere sort of along the inner thigh, maybe the inner knee. It's not pushing. You're going to keep that right foot flexed. Square up the hips to the top of your mat. All right, we're going to start with the forward fold. So hands can just rest. Inhale, lengthen up through the crown of the head. Exhale, tip of the pelvis, belly button towards the thighs, belly button towards the thighs. And then let the ribs come down, then the chest, then the heart. And maybe you keep looking forward at your right toes. Maybe you drop your chin to your chest. Maybe you crawl the arms forward. But this is Janu Shirsasana. And one leg forward fold. Push through the right heel. Let the left leg relax. Soften the shoulders, soften the arms. Feel length through the back of the body, through the entire back side. Three more breaths. And then bring the hands under the shoulders, nearby the hips. Push the hands down. Inhale, rise. We're keeping the legs just as they are. We're starting with the open twist. So that's going to be over to the left. So you might bring your left hand behind you a bit, your right hand maybe to that right leg. Inhale, reach the crown of the head up towards the sky. Exhale, turn your chest over to the left, over to the open side, open leg. So the left hand, again, might come behind you, sort of push the left hand down to reach the crown of the head up. Right hand might push into the left thigh as leverage, or maybe into the right leg as leverage. But keep right toes up towards the sky. Your right toes are going to want to drop over to the right, toes to the sky. Lengthening up. And maybe you stay up tall, just upright and rotated. Or maybe you start to lean forward again, right hand kind of sliding down towards that right foot, but still drawing the left shoulder back, opening the heart. Maybe you add a half bind, left hand, reaching around, kind of like you're drawing your right shoulder down towards that right leg. Two more breaths. And then slowly return the upper body. Lengthen up through the crown of the head. Turn the chest forward towards the top of the mat. Left leg stays relaxed. Right foot continues to stay flexed. All right, right hand's going to come behind you. We're going to twist to the right. Inhale, crown of the head up. Exhale, turn and twist over to the right. The left hand will come somewhere to the outside of the right leg. Right hand pushes down, reach up, up, up with the crown of the head. Soften the shoulders. And maybe you stay long here. I always like to take a couple breaths in each sort of phase. So maybe you turn and look over your right shoulder. Maybe you just pause right here, lengthen up, rotate to the right, and you just focus there. That's a lot. Maybe you add a forward fold, kind of let that left hand slide down the right leg, like it's reaching for the foot, reaching for the ankle, adding a bit of a rotation. Adding a bit of a forward flexion, and still drawing the right shoulder back. I like to push the right hand down to roll the right shoulder back. You might, again, take another half bind, but rotating nevertheless. Right shoulder back, shoulder soft, away from the ears. Soften the left hip, left leg. Two more breaths. And then inhale, slowly return, rise up, lengthen the spine. Lengthen the legs. Take a moment, move around, move whatever you gotta move. And so coming back to that same sort of forward flexion and twist, that's often something I find feels good in the lower back. So even as you're here, you could think about almost like reaching your left hand to the opposite front corner of the mat, towards the front right corner of the mat, and then your right hand towards the front left corner of the mat, sort of forward and twisting. Could feel good. Do what feels good. Two more breaths. Okay. Gonna make your way down onto your back. Come on down onto your back. Allow yourself to be comfortable. Maybe a little support under the back of the head. Start with the knees bent, feet flat. All right. Let's take figure 4. So knees bent, feet flat. Bring the right ankle to the top of the left thigh. Flex the foot. You could stay here. Something I've been liking to do, I've been, I, that sentence was not grammatically structured right. You know what I meant. Something I have been enjoying doing lately, whatever. It's letting the legs windshield wiper in this formation, keeping the left foot on the ground and just sort of swaying. I think that feels really good. Maybe you do that. Maybe you're like, ugh, Lauren, what are you talking about? And so maybe you hug your left thigh in. You could stay there. You maybe rock side to side there. But just like in Happy Baby, your tail might sort of lift here. That's okay. If it's lifting, I would say that might be an indication that your lower back is tight, that it's sort of lifting up, but that might not necessarily be true. That really, there's a lot of things at play, so don't worry about it if that's the case for you. A lot of people struggle with lower back issues. So whatever you're feeling, whatever you're experiencing, know that it's not right or wrong. You're just finding out what your body needs, and then you're going to make a promise to honor that, to do your best. Come onto your mat to do that. Let's take 3 more breaths. Figure 4 on this right side. And slowly let the left foot return to the mat. And then the right. Take a breath. And then the left ankle, top of the right thigh. Softly flex the left foot. You might stay right here. You might add the movement of letting the legs sort of windshield wiper side to side. Maybe movement is your thing. Maybe stillness is your thing. Maybe you keep that right foot on the ground. Maybe you let the hands come to the back of the right thigh and you hug the right thigh in. Even here, you can still add movement. You've always got options. Keep checking in with what you're feeling, what's going on. Three more breaths here. And then slowly release. Let the right foot down, left foot down. Inhale. Exhale, hug the knees into the chest. Take any position that feels good. You could stay in Apanasana. You can take Happy Baby. Notice how you feel wherever you're at. And then take your time setting up for Shavasana. Just finding a comfortable position. Eventually coming into a position that takes no work, no effort. You get to rest and relax. And so you soften and you let go. You release what you don't need. You free your mind of whatever has maybe been nagging on it. You release any expectations. And you allow yourself to rest. Slowly deepen your breath. Deepen your breath and add soft movements into your body. Rock your head side to side. Run your thumbs over the rest of your fingers and wiggle your toes. Roll wrists and ankles. Move arms and legs. Maybe you stretch your arms overhead like you just woke up from a long nap. Take a deep breath in. And as you breathe out, hug your knees in towards your chest and slowly roll over onto either side. Use the strength of both arms to push down into the ground. Come up to a comfortable seat. Take a moment here. Thank yourself for making it to your mat today. Maybe reflect on your intention. Now let's join the hands together in front of the heart in Anjali Mudra. To seal our practice, we'll chant the sound of Om one time. Let's start by taking a deep and clearing breath. Breathe in through the nose, out through the mouth. Breathe in through the nose for the Om. May you be happy. May you be healthy. May you live with ease, and may you be guided by your inner light. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you for taking this time for not only practicing with me, but for yourself. Of course, again, like self-care, reflecting on what your body needs, and then listening and doing it. Like listening is one thing, and then executing, right? Two different things. You got to do them both for your body. So thank yourself, and I thank you, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye.